#nobody controls her. Until he arrived, the billionaire's daughter and the single dad love story. She never saw it coming, the way his calloused hands would gently hold her manicured ones, how his second-hand Toyota would become more appealing than her collection of luxury cars. Sophia Blackwood, heiress to the Blackwood Empire, had spent 28 years building walls that no one could scale. Until Jamie Parker, a single father working 3 jobs with nothing but determination and love for his daughter, walked into her carefully controlled world and turned it upside down. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected love and personal transformation, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Sophia stood at the window of her penthouse office, watching Manhattan glitter 40 stories below. The Blackwood Industries logo cast blue light across her face as she reviewed quarterly projections on her tablet. At 28, she was the youngest CFO in the company's history, and the only female executive on her father's board. "Miss Blackwood, your father is requesting the Henderson portfolio before tomorrow's meeting," her assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. "Tell him he'll have it when I'm finished with it," Sophia replied without looking up. "And cancel my dinner reservation. I'll be working late." This was her life: meetings, portfolios, and proving herself worthy of the Blackwood name. Romance was a distraction she couldn't afford, especially after watching her mother wither away in her father's shadow before the divorce. Sophia had sworn she would never give anyone that kind of power over her. Her phone buzzed with a text from her father: "The Henderson deal is critical. Don't disappoint me." Sophia's jaw tightened. At $35 billion, Richard Blackwood had everything except the ability to say, please, or thank you, to his only daughter. Across town, Jamie Parker was racing against time. His ancient Toyota sputtered through traffic as he checked his watch for the 5th time in as many minutes. Come on, he muttered, drumming his fingers on the steering wheel. If he was late picking up Lily from after-school care again, they'd charge him extra, money he didn't have. At 32, Jamie's life was a carefully orchestrated juggling act. Morning shifts at the construction site, evening bartending gigs, and weekend handyman work, all to provide for his 8-year-old daughter after her mother had decided parenthood wasn't for her and disappeared 4 years ago. He pulled up to Westside Elementary with 2 minutes to spare, exhaling with relief. When Lily bounded out with her unruly curls and gap-toothed smile, all his exhaustion melted away. "Daddy! I got picked to design the class mural," she exclaimed, climbing into the car. "That's amazing, Lilipad." Jamie high-fived her, his heart swelling with pride. "What's your big idea?" "It's going to be a garden where all different kinds of flowers grow together," she explained, buckling her seatbelt. "Miss Wilson says it's a metaphor." Jamie smiled. "Sounds like someone's been paying attention in class." "Dad, can we get art supplies this weekend? I need to practice." Jamie's smile faltered. The electricity bill was due, and Lily's winter boots were falling apart. But the hope in her eyes, he could never disappoint that. "Of course we can," he promised. "Nothing but the best for my little artist." The collision of their worlds came on a rainy Tuesday morning. Sophia was rushing into her favorite coffee shop, eyes on her phone as she reviewed emails, when she slammed directly into someone exiting. Hot coffee splashed across her cream-colored Burberry coat. "Are you kidding me?" she snapped, looking up to find a tall man with apologetic brown eyes and a 5 o'clock shadow at 10 in the morning. "I'm so sorry," Jamie said, grabbing napkins from a nearby dispenser. "Let me help." "Don't," Sophia stepped back, her voice cold. "This coat costs more than you probably make in a month." Jamie's expression hardened. "Probably. And I'm genuinely sorry about your coat, but that doesn't give you the right to be cruel." Sophia blinked, unused to being challenged. Before she could respond, his phone rang. "I have to take this," he said, then answered. "Hey, Mrs. Gonzalez." "What? Is she okay?" His face paled. "I'll be right there." He hung up, running a hand through his hair. My daughter's sick at school. I need to go, but... He pulled out a business card with Parker Handyman Services printed on it. Send me the dry cleaning bill. I'll make it right. Before Sophia could refuse, he was gone, leaving her holding a simple card that somehow felt heavier than it should. 3 days later, Sophia found herself in an unfamiliar part of Brooklyn, standing outside a modest apartment building. She'd told herself she was only here to deliver the dry cleaning bill in person, to see the look on his face when he realized just how expensive her coat had been. It wasn't because she'd been unable to forget those honest brown eyes or the way he'd stood his ground. She pressed the buzzer for Parker and waited. The door opened to reveal Jamie, looking surprised and slightly wary. Behind him, a small girl with wild curls and curious eyes peeked around his leg. You're the coffee lady, the girl said matter-of-factly. Lily, Jamie admonished gently, then looked at Sophia. This is unexpected. Sophia held out the envelope containing the dry cleaning bill. I thought I'd deliver this personally. Jamie took it, his expression unreadable. Would you like to come in? I just made hot chocolate. With mini marshmallows, Lily added importantly. Sophia hesitated. She had a conference call in an hour, emails to answer, reports to review. I really shouldn't. It's just hot chocolate, Jamie said with a small smile. Not a marriage proposal. Something about his easy confidence made her nod. All right. Just for a few minutes. Those few minutes turned into an hour as Lily proudly showed Sophia her artwork, and Jamie explained how he'd renovated their small apartment himself. There was something disarming about the warmth of their home, not in its furnishings, which were modest at best, but in the feeling it evoked. When Sophia finally left, Jamie walked her out. About the bill. Forget it, Sophia said, surprising herself. It was an accident. Jamie studied her. You came all the way to Brooklyn to tell me to forget about it? Sophia found herself at a loss for words, an unfamiliar sensation. Thank you, he said simply. Lily's medical bills this month have been challenging. Sophia nodded, suddenly uncomfortable with his gratitude. It's nothing. I should go. As she walked away, she heard Lily's voice from the window above, Daddy, is the pretty lady coming back? Sophia didn't hear Jamie's answer, but the question followed her all the way home. The next few weeks brought unexpected encounters. Sophia discovered that Jamie was working on renovations at a restaurant near her office. She found herself taking lunch there, watching him work from behind her laptop screen. When he noticed her the third time, he approached her table. Are you stalking me, Miss Blackwood? He asked with a teasing smile. I enjoy their salads, she replied primly. 3 days in a row? They're very good salads. Jamie laughed, a warm sound that made something flutter in Sophia's chest. My shift ends at 3. If you're still enjoying your very good salad then, maybe we could have coffee? One that stays in the cup this time. Sophia should have said no. She had meetings, deadlines, responsibilities. Instead, she heard herself say, I'd like that. Over coffee, Sophia learned that Jamie had been raising Lily alone since his ex-wife left when Lily was 4. He'd given up his dreams of becoming an architect to work jobs that allowed him flexibility for his daughter. You gave up your career for her? Sophia asked, unable to imagine her own father making such a sacrifice. I adjusted my dreams, Jamie corrected. Lily isn't a sacrifice, she's the reason I push myself to be better. My father always taught me that success requires single-minded focus, Sophia said. Personal relationships are distractions. Jamie studied her. Is that what you believe, or what you've been told to believe? The question lingered between them, unanswered but not forgotten. Their coffee meetings became a weekly occurrence, then twice weekly. Sophia found herself looking forward to these breaks from her regimented life, where she could simply be herself without the weight of the Blackwood name. One evening, Jamie called her in a panic. His babysitter had cancelled, and he was supposed to bartend, a shift he couldn't afford to miss. "I wouldn't ask if I had any other option," he said, his voice strained. "Jamie, I don't know anything about children," Sophia protested. "Lily's easy. She'll be asleep most of the time. Please, Sophia." Something in his voice, the rare vulnerability, made her agree. That night, Sophia found herself sitting on Jamie's worn couch, laptop open as she worked while Lily slept in the next room. When the little girl appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes and asking for water, Sophia felt a moment of panic. But as she sat on the edge of Lily's bed, listening to the child's sleepy questions about stars and why the moon followed you when you walked, Sophia felt a strange peace settle over her. She found herself telling Lily about constellations, knowledge from her boarding school astronomy class that she hadn't thought about in years. When Jamie returned home, he found them both asleep on Lily's small bed, a children's book open between them. The sight did something to him, seeing this powerful, guarded woman curled protectively around his daughter. He gently woke Sophia, walking her to the door. "Thank you," he said softly. "Lily doesn't warm up to people easily." "She's special," Sophia replied, her usual composure slightly rumpled from sleep. "You're doing an amazing job with her." Jamie reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was so tender that Sophia felt her breath catch. "I should go," she whispered. "Or you could stay," he suggested, his voice low. Sophia stepped back, walls rising instantly. "Jamie, I don't do relationships. My life is complicated." "Is it complicated, or are you just afraid?" His directness startled her. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I think I do," Jamie said gently. "You're afraid of needing someone because the people who should have been there for you weren't." Sophia felt exposed, vulnerable. "Good night, Jamie." She fled to her penthouse, to the safety of solitude and control. But sleep eluded her as she replayed his words in her mind. The next morning, Richard Blackwood summoned Sophia to his office. "The Henderson merger is moving forward," he announced without preamble. "I need you to relocate to London for 6 months to oversee the transition." 6 months? Sophia repeated, thinking of Jamie and Lily. Richard raised an eyebrow. "Is that a problem? I thought your career was your priority." "It is," Sophia said automatically. "Good. Because I'm considering you for COO when Phillips retires next year. This merger could seal the deal." He studied her. "Unless there's something holding you back." Sophia straightened her spine. "Nothing is holding me back." But as she left his office, she felt the weight of her words. For the first time in her life, her father's approval didn't fill her with the satisfaction it once had. She avoided Jamie's calls for 3 days, burying herself in preparation for London. When he showed up at her office, her assistant tried to turn him away. "It's all right, Claire," Sophia said, appearing in the doorway. "Give us a moment." Jamie followed her into her office, taking in the floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist decor. "Nice view." "Why are you here, Jamie?" "Because you're avoiding me, and I want to know why." Sophia sighed. "I'm being sent to London for 6 months. I leave next week." Jamie was quiet for a moment. "Were you going to tell me?" "I don't owe you explanations about my career moves." "No, but I thought we were at least friends." The word felt insufficient for what had grown between them. "It's complicated." "You keep saying that," Jamie said, frustration edging his voice. "But relationships are only as complicated as we make them." "That's easy for you to say," Sophia snapped. "You don't understand what's at stake for me." "Then help me understand," Jamie pleaded. "Because I'm falling in love with you, Sophia, and I think you feel something too." The words hung in the air between them. Sophia turned away, looking out at the city skyline. I can't be what you need, Jamie. I'm not cut out for family life. That's not true, Jamie said quietly. I've seen you with Lily. You're more capable of love than you give yourself credit for. And what happens when it falls apart? Sophia asked, her voice breaking slightly. When you realize I work 70-hour weeks and don't know how to be anyone's partner? That's not something we figure out in advance, Jamie said. It's something we work on together, day by day. Sophia shook her head. I can't risk it. My father is considering me for COO. Do you know how rare it is for a woman my age to reach that level? I would never ask you to give up your career, Jamie said. But is climbing the corporate ladder worth sacrificing everything else? This conversation is pointless, Sophia said, retreating behind her professional mask. I'm going to London. Jamie nodded slowly. Then I guess this is goodbye. As he turned to leave, Sophia called out, Jamie. He paused, looking back at her. Take care of Lily. Always, he promised, and then he was gone. London was everything Sophia had worked for: challenging work, respect from international colleagues, her father's rare words of approval. Yet she found herself standing at her apartment window late at night, wondering what Jamie and Lily were doing, if Lily had finished her mural, if Jamie still worked at that restaurant. 3 months into her assignment, Sophia was video conferencing with her father when he mentioned casually, the Parker renovations at the West Side property are impressive. We should consider his company for the new development. Sophia froze. Parker? Some small contractor, Richard waved dismissively. Claire hired him for the office renovations after you left. Apparently, he's quite talented. That night, Sophia called Claire. Tell me about the contractor my father mentioned. Jamie Parker? He's amazing, Claire gushed. He completely redesigned the break room, and he's working on plans for the satellite offices now. How did you find him? He came looking for you, actually, Claire admitted. About a month after you left. When I mentioned we needed renovations, he gave me his portfolio. The man's got serious talent. Sophia ended the call, her mind racing. Jamie was working for Blackwood Industries? Why hadn't he mentioned his architectural background? The next day, she requested the renovation files and found herself staring at Jamie's designs. They were brilliant, innovative yet practical, beautiful yet functional. This wasn't the work of a handyman, this was the vision of the architect he'd set aside to raise his daughter. 2 more months passed. Sophia threw herself into completing the merger ahead of schedule, working around the clock. When she presented the finalized deal to the board 2 weeks early, even her father looked impressed. Excellent work, Richard said as they left the boardroom. Phillips is announcing his retirement next month. The COO position is yours if you want it. It was everything Sophia had worked for: her father's approval, professional recognition, corporate power. Yet she found herself asking, can I think about it? Richard looked surprised. What's there to think about? I just need some time, Sophia said. That night, she found herself looking at pictures of Jamie and Lily on social media. There was Lily standing proudly next to her completed school mural, a garden where different flowers grew together, just as she described months ago. And there was Jamie, his arm around his daughter, looking at her with such pride that it made Sophia's chest ache. She made her decision. When Sophia returned to New York, she went directly to her father's office. I've made my decision about the COO position, she announced. Richard looked up expectantly. I'm declining, Sophia said firmly. That's absurd, Richard scoffed. This is what you've worked for. No, Sophia corrected. It's what you've worked for. What you've pushed me toward my entire life. Sophia. I'm not leaving the company, she continued. But I'm proposing a new division, community development and sustainable housing.